Eric Muad with Muad.com with my continuation for the swedge breakout. As I promised, there are going to be a couple of videos trying to polish up the swedge breakout concept. Now there is what I call a cheat code. There is a method in which you can use the swedge breakout to kind of cheat your entry point and try and see whether you can get a lower entry price. And the warning here is that those breakouts, because they're, when you caught cheating, the penalty can be a bit steep. For one, the stock is not going to be ready to move, and sometimes it also does lead to failed swedge breakout attempts. On the upside is, as I said, you get early entry point, or at least you get an idea for what the stock might be intending to do in the short term. Now, the way I can explain this is if I draw, if we say, this is our RSI, something like that. If I can get that right, and so we have this swedge forming here. I don't know that would make sense. Yeah, let me do something like that. So let's say we have our wedge right there. Now the way you actually cheat is that if this is the RSI top line right there, if that's where you have a significant high in price, let's say that's the high of the stock. If this is a significant swedge top line, then what you can do is, once you get a confirmation that there is a line on the bottom, is I'm gonna have to draw something a little different so I can kind of explain this better, but let me try again. Let's say you have a good wedge like that, and this is let's say this is the RSI, something like that. Now the way you actually cheat is, once you have established this as your RSI lows, once you have this is your main RSI, and then you have another point where you come and confirm these lows. It's the 1 point, and then it comes back and confirms that, let's say, with a double bottom on the RSI. Now anytime it moves out of that, so this is your main RSI line, you draw another one based on this intermediate high, and you go like that. And so now this breakout here becomes your entry point, because this line has been confirmed, it's been hit twice, and now the stock is trying to move out. So before it even breaks above this buy point here, the future buy point, before it does something like this, you're already in the stock here, normally at a lower price. Now I'm going to attempt to do this again, because I'm not sure I'm articulating this very well. Alright, let me try this. Wedge. Let's work with me here. And so we have something like that. And then we come here and we keep confirming these lows here. So instead of you waiting for the stock to do one of this and break out in the future, weeks in the future, what you do is, now you take these confirmed top lines, and once this is confirmed here, you enter the stock, you draw a line, which means that now that we've tested these lows here, now we might be moving out of that. So you cheat and you enter during this swedge breakout, as opposed to a future breakout over here. Now I'll show you some examples so that kind of makes sense, but this does explain it. So your entry point is going to be here with a cheat code, swedge breakout, because this line is now tested, it's been hit twice, more than twice, confirmed in the short term, and now the stock is moving out of that range. Now always remember, our best buy points are when the stock breaks out above that, the 50 with a swedge breakout. Those are the best breakout. Let's say the stock moved there, stalled, and now we have a new breakout swedge right there. So this becomes our entry point. We always want to get our best entry point when the stock is making a fresh breakout out of a swedge formation and into the 50 and above area. So let's look at some examples. One that comes to mind is one that I actually did introduce you guys to. This is SKF. We've all been watching, and probably we still own this one. Now SKF has not given us an official entry point since I recommended it, and the reason why I recommended SKF around here in the 115 initially, and then it's been up and down, but it's been up since then. Had a scary drop one time to 108, but let's say it's in the mid 115 area, 120, somewhere around there. That was our original entry point. The reason why I did go ahead and give that very early buy signal is because when we you see this blue line here is a confirmed RSI lows line. So the stock came and hit that, and when I noticed that it was hitting this line on multiple occasions, finding support right there on that line, what I did is I went ahead and drew, let me try and give as much information right there. Went ahead and drew a line that was from here to there. So when we moved out of this small wedge, I cheated, and so that was our entry point somewhere around here, and in this region right here is where we entered the stock. Now the main buy point in SKF has not yet been given, and in a way it's a good thing, or it's also going to be a bad thing, because if we are too early we can get frustrated in a trade, because like we've experienced the up and down action. Now given today's close where the stock was up like 6% or something like that, we do need this stock to now, the RSI, to move above that, and so this current wedge formation, the move out of this wedge and above 50 is going to be the buy point, and I suspect the stock is going to see the 160, 170, even the 200 price level in a couple of weeks. But we haven't seen the buy point yet, so it's a risky trade. We cheated with the trade and we got in, and this is a perfect example of where the RSI lows were confirmed. And this was a major high. Draw a line down, and the breakout above this confirmation of the lows is where you enter, and that's what I call a cheat. How you cheat your entry into a stock. Now I wanted to again, it's based on the current RSI for SKF is based on a significant high around it when the stock hit the 210 area, an all-time high. So any breakout we get above out of this wedge is going to be a significant and a strong buy point. I want to go back and look at some of the entry points for SKF, because there's a lot of examples we can get just from gleaming this one chart here. It's a messy chart. The dotted lines show us, the green dotted line show us a perfect entry point. And again, I want to show you one of the reasons why you should use the breakout above 50. Like the blue line here is the lows. It's been confirmed over the last year or so. We have this wedge formation. Stock breaks out, it's not above 50, and it stalls immediately. It actually stays around the 100 for more than a week and a half. It doesn't move much, and it's until the subsequent breakout that took the stock above this wedge. Let me draw it. That's a significant high right there. So we know any line that forms a wedge is going to be a strong buy. So that wedge right there, the moment we broke out of that wedge formation right there, is this point right here, and the stock moved from 110 and almost non-stop went all the way to 210. So watch your entry points. And again, we see another wedge formation afterwards. The stock settled for a couple of days. Again, another wedge breakout right there, and a formation right there. It's kind of hard to see. And if you enter the stock around there, and this is this point right here. So again, you from 120 all the way to 210. So you want your wedge breakouts. The best ones are those that are above 50. We see another wedge breakout here. That wedge, based on a strong high, it's above 50. Break out of that, the stock moved from, I would say, around 100, and within 3 weeks was trading as high as 145. It's a big gain when the markets were really tanking in early January of 2008. Again, when you want to sell a stock, check this out. Draw a line when you get an established upward trend. That trend is confirmed. This low is confirmed here. The moment you break below that, so you gotta give the stock time to move. Once that was broken is when you sell it, or you see indication it might be broken, then you can get out. So you can use a wedge breakout for entry points and also for exits. I think that's it on this particular chart, unless I'm forgetting something. Again, so we haven't seen an entry point for SKF August 25th, 2008. But I'm assuming when we get a wedge breakout on the daily, it's going to be a great move, a great stock to own as markets roll over and get in trouble quickly. Let's take a look at the US dollar. Now, the US dollar has been on a slump for many years, and it had made a high in 2006 that has been forming, that has not been broken. And you can see there's been a wedge, a big wedge, multi-year. This is 4-year daily chart. This big wedge right here, hitting these top lines right there, and right there. So the ultimate buy point was when it broke above this blue line. But using our cheat code is if we take this point here, that is also part of this bigger wedge, and now that we have a confirmed RSI lows here, you cheat and you use the this line right here, intermediate line, and you can use that as a breakout. And because it was above 50, it's a strong wedge breakout, and that is why the dollar has been on a great move, and your entry point would have been around 73. And that's a big gain for the dollar, which had not had a huge or significant trend change for many years. So using the cheat code, you would have been in early. Let me try and explain something also. Let me draw some. Notice you want the wedge to be like that, okay? And you know, when with the RSI moving above something like that, you want to draw, if this comes here and plays around there, you want this line to be a strong high, based on a strong high, so you can use that entry point right there, because this multiple lows here in the short term are confirming that this line you had drawn that was connecting this point and this point, and let me draw that better, and connecting these 3 points is being confirmed again here. So any move out of that line right there is an entry point. It's an early entry point, very early entry point, and you need to be patient for you to make money if the wedge, if this breakout is below 50. So eventually what it's going to do is going to go play around, and it's going to consolidate its psychology, and finally the bulls will win the fight if it's a strong stock or index, and that becomes the ultimate. This is actually the best time to enter the stock. This entry point right here on this cheat code breakout is really you trying to get in way before the crowd, and you're going to be facing some frustration as the stock moves up and down the wedge. Now let's take a look at one more, and this is EXM, a shipping stock. Notice one thing right off the bat, and this does give us a good example for a wedge cheat code. See, now go ahead and draw my lines. There is a wedge right there. Notice this line is confirmed here and again here, so that's a double confirmation. And then we have this RSI top lines that is based on a strong high. So now based on a strong high, now notice before this point was, this RSI moved above 50 for a while here. This is where the wedge was up to that point, so you haven't gone into the future, so you can cheat because this line has been confirmed. You can draw a line right there, and this breakout point becomes a cheating you trying to get in the stock early, and that was that entry point. Now notice you are very early because the stock went sideways. You didn't lose any money, but it was frustrating. The stock went sideways for about a month before finally taking off. Okay, but this is why I want us to give it some serious thought, because the best entry point was right here during this breakout. This wedge, notice we tried to move above 50 and failed multiple times, and then now we come around and we finally break out above that. A wedge breakout just above 50 for the first time is very strong. That moved EXM very quickly from around, I would say from around 27 all the way to 60 in about a month. So this entry point is where you really want to go all out and be heavily invested in an instrument that is doing this kind of action. So right now we have another cheat code, or we had one recently, where the stock had this wedge. That wedge, so we've confirmed it here, confirmed the line was here, and then a third time here. So what you can do is you can use that entry point right here as an entry point, and even though the stock didn't move much, at least you had a move from around 33 all the way to around 43. That's not a bad move, and before that fizzled out. So it's in a way it can also make you money, but because the buy point was below 50, those ones tend to be weak swedge breakouts. Hey, this is Eric Muadh with Muadh.com. Check out for more videos on the swedge breakout subject. Take care. See you in my next video. Peace and blessings to you as always. Yeah.